Hello, this is Charlene. In this video, we will be converting between metric and English units of measurement. We first need to understand about the idea of conversion factors. We are starting this problem with 26 centimeters, and our goal is to get to inches. So in the middle, between centimeters and inches, we are going to be providing conversion factors which help us to get to our goal of inches. So we'll be talking about that more as we move forward. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's look to the left at our English and metric equivalence chart. We've got 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters, and that's all we need. Centimeters and inches. We're going to convert to inches. So this right here allows us to set up a conversion factor. And we are going to set that conversion factor up so that we can cancel out our centimeters. We actually want to get rid of our centimeters. So that means I am going to cancel centimeters and centimeters. So 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And that allows me to cancel out those centimeters that I do not want. And then at this point, I can go ahead and just multiply straight across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. And that gives me 26, because 26 times 1 is 26, and 1 times 2.54 in the denominator is 2.54. And then I can take my handy dandy calculator and do the calculations and turn that into a decimal with 2 decimal places. So that's equal to 10.24. And the only units that I was left with were my inches. So that's what I'm going to put down as my units, inches. Okay, so at that point, we have an answer of 10.24. So 26 centimeters is equal to 10.24 inches. But before we leave, I want to talk just briefly about the conversion factor. This conversion factor is always equal to 1. So, because 1 inch takes up exactly the same amount of space as 2.54 centimeters. It's kind of like when you have 4 divided by 4. Well, that's the same thing divided by the same thing, and it's equal to 1. So this is the same distance over the same distance. So therefore, this conversion factor is equal to 1. So hopefully that helps you kind of understand how you set up your conversion factors. This right here is a conversion factor, and it has to always equal 1. For our next problem, we're going to convert 776 miles to kilometers. Again, let's look over here at our English and metric equivalence chart, and we need miles and kilometers. Okay, so we've got an equivalence right there. So that is where we're going to get our conversion factor. Okay, we're going to set our conversion factor up as a ratio. So I've got 776 miles times the conversion factor of 1.6 kilometers divided by 1 mile, because the miles are in the denominator, because I want to cancel them out with the miles in the numerator. So I can go ahead and multiply straight across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and that gives me, well, let's look it up in our little calculator. We've calculated it here. 776 times 1.6 is equal to 1,241.6 kilometers. That's the only units that are left. Like I said, my miles canceled out, so I'm left with kilometers. So those are my units. So 776 miles is equal to 1,241.6 kilometers. This next problem is going to be a little bit more complicated. They want us to convert 1.2 decameters to inches. And the reason why is because getting from decameters to inches is going to require more than one conversion factor. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up um, how I've set it up, and we'll talk about how we find these conversion factors. Okay, so we look at our chart over here on the right. We've got decameters listed over here. Decameters is equal to 10 meters. That one means that 1 decameter is equal to 10 meters. And that is appropriate. That is actually how we are finding our first conversion factor because 10 meters is equal to 1 decameter. And this actually allows us to cancel out our decameters right there in the numerator and our decameters in the denominator. That's the goal. Start canceling out until we finally are left with nothing but inches, and that will be our full conversion. But we actually have meters at this point. That's not our goal. So that means we're going to have to cancel out meters as well. So that means I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look and see what they say. Okay, here's the word meter. Here's also meters, centimeters. But for me, I don't really connect as much with this conversion that 1 centimeter is equal to 0.01 meters. What is actually a little bit more helpful for me is the idea down here that 100 cents is equal to $1 and 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. You can kind of think of it as like these 100 pennies are little things, and these little things fit inside of a whole dollar, which is a bigger thing. And the same thing is true. 100 centimeters are little things, and 100 centimeters fit into 1 meter, which is a bigger thing. So that is how I actually um, find my second conversion factor here is that 100 centimeters, which are little things, fit into 1 meter, which is a bigger thing. So that's my second conversion factor. And that allows me, again, to cancel out meters in the numerator and cancel out meters in the denominator. So I hope that's helpful for you because I find that a lot of kids just, that it's hard for them to deal with this particular unit conversion in this chart over here. Okay, so the next one that we're going to look at is 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters because our goal again is to get to those inches. Got to get to the inches right there. So that's the goal. So we're going to go ahead and do 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And again, what I wanted to cancel out was the centimeters, which means that I make sure and put the centimeters in the denominator because centimeters in the numerator can cancel with centimeters in the denominator. And then that leaves me with my inches. And that is where I wanted to go. That's my goal, to get to inches. Okay, so now that we have got all of our conversion factors set up so that we can eliminate all the unnecessary units, now we need to multiply all the numerators straight across and all the denominators straight across. So when we do that, we're going to do 1.2 times 10 times 100 and times 1 in the numerator and 1 times 1 times 1 times 2.54 in the denominator. And when I do that, pull up my handy dandy little calculator here, it's going to give me 1200 in the numerator, 1200 in the numerator, and that 1 times 1 times 1 times 2.54 in the denominator. And when I divide it out, it's going to give me 4.72.44. So 472.44. And again, my units that I wanted, my goal was inches, and I indeed canceled out all of my units except for inches, so that those are my units, inches. So now we know that 1.2 decameters is equal to 472.44 inches. Okay, let's see what we can do next. This next problem is also going to require more than one conversion factor. They want us to convert from 180 inches to HMs. What are HMs? Hectometers. So let's go ahead and pull up our conversion factors and see how we arrived at the conversion factors. Okay, so the first one says that I have inches, 180 inches. So that means I definitely want to get rid of inches. So I go over here and I find that inches are right here. 1 inches equals 2.54 centimeters. So that's how I came up with the first conversion factor. And that allows me to cancel out the inches, cancel out the inches. Okay, so the next one, I have centimeters here that I need to cancel out. So I'm going to go and find centimeters, except again, this is the one that is not in this particular chart. What I want to think of is the fact that 100 little centimeters fit into 1 meter. But I'm going to put the centimeters in the denominator. I could use the conversion factor like this if I wanted to cancel out meters, but I don't. I want to cancel out centimeters. So I'm going to put the centimeters in the bottom, the denominator, so that we can now cancel out centimeters and centimeters. Okay, so now I have meters. But that's not the goal. My goal is to get to hectometers. So that means I need to find a conversion between hectometers and meters. So let's go over here and see what we can find. Hectometers and meters. Oh, that's the last one um, that we were looking at here. So hectometers and 100 meters. Because this little chart means that 1 hectometer equals 100 meters. So 1 hectometer equals 100 meters. That allows me to cancel out the meters in the numerator, cancel out the meters in the denominator, and now I'm left with hectometers, which is the goal. That is the goal that I wanted to get to. So now we can go ahead and multiply straight across all the numerators and multiply straight across all the denominators. And when I do that, it is going to give me in the numerator, it's going to give me two or 457.2 in the numerator and 10,000 in the denominator. And then when I divide that out, it's going to give me 0.04572. 0.04572, and my units are going to be hectometers, HMs. So now I know that 180 inches is equal to 0.04572 hectometers. Okay. Our next conversion wants us to convert 8 feet to meters. So we're going to go over here and find some conversion factors. Let's see, I've already set them up. We'll look and see how we found those in the charts. Okay, so we've got 8 feet, particularly to get rid of. So I have um, feet is equal to centimeters, and centimeters will lead me to meters. So 1 foot equals 30.48 centimeters, and that gives me my first conversion factor. And that allows me to cancel out my feet, cancel out the feet. And now I have centimeters that I need to cancel out. So I am going to um, come up with a conversion factor where centimeters are in the denominator. But this, like I said, these charts don't work for me very well. I like to use 100 centimeters, which are little things, fit into 1 meter. So that is where I get my conversion factor here, 1 meter is a big thing, and 100 little centimeters fit into it. And now I can cancel out my centimeters. Centimeters in the numerator, centimeters in the denominator. And now that I have everything canceled out except my meters, then that means I've reached my goal. Meters was the goal. So now I am going to multiply straight across the numerators, multiply straight across the denominators. And when I do that, I come up with these figures. It is going to be equal to 243.84 in the numerator divided by 1 times 1 times 100 in the denominator, which is 100. And when I divide that out, it's 2.4384. And again, my units are meters. So let me put the meters down. And that means that 8 feet is equal to 2.4384 meters. Alrighty then. Okay, the next problem wants us to convert 8 yards, oop, can't get my marker there, 8 yards to centimeters. So again, we are going to have to set up a couple of conversion factors. We want to eliminate yards up front. So we need to go find conversion factor that gives us yards. So 1 yards is approximately 0.9 meters. So that's what we're going to go with for the first conversion factor. Now we can cancel out the yards in the numerator, yards in the denominator. Now we need to cancel out meters so we can get to the goal, which is centimeters. And again, I'm going to use my favorite equivalency. 100 little centimeters fits into 1 meter. And this one, I am going to put the meters in the denominator because meters is what I want to cancel out. So meters gets to cancel, and that leaves me with the centimeters because centimeters is the goal. Now that I have eliminated all the units except for the goal of centimeters, I can now multiply straight across the numerators, multiply straight across the denominators, and that is going to give me 720. So it's going to be 7 is equal to 720. And of course, it's divided by 1 times 1 times 1. And that 1 in the denominator can just disappear. So my final answer is 720. The units are centimeters. And now we know that 8 yards is equal to 720 centimeters. Okay, now we will be converting 8 meters to feet. Okay, so the first thing we want to eliminate are the meters. So let's go ahead and set this up. Okay, I want to eliminate meters. So I'm going to go find how to eliminate meters. Again, this particular equivalency is not on one of the charts, but from our previous problems, we know that 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. If we set it up like that with the meters in the denominator, that means I can eliminate the meters in the numerator and the meters in the denominator. Now I have centimeters I need to eliminate. So I'm going to use a conversion factor of 1 inch is equal to 2.5 centimeters. I'm going to set that up there. It's 2.54 centimeters in the denominator. Way I can eliminate the centimeters in the numerator, centimeters in the denominator. Now I need to eliminate inches in order to get to feet, because the goal is to get to feet. So I'm going to go find Well, I'm not going to find it on my chart. Again, this is something that they expect us to know, and expect us to know that 12 inches fit into 1 foot. 12 inches and 1 foot are equal to each other. So that is where the last conversion factor comes from. Of course, I'm going to put the 12 inches in the denominator so I can cancel out inches and inches. That leaves me with feet. I have now met the goal of getting to uh, the units of feet. So now we're going to do the calculations. We're going to multiply straight across the numerators and straight across the denominators. And it's going to give me some numbers, some figures. So let's see what they are. They are in the numerator, it's going to be 800. And that comes from, of course, you can't see this number, can you now? Get rid of some of those. Okay, so that's going to comes from the 8 times the 100, and that gives us the 800 in the numerator. In the denominator, 1 times 2.54 times 12. That gives us the 30.48. So 30.48. And when we divide that out, it gives us 26.25. 24.25, because we are going to round that to 2 decimal places. Again, my units are feet. So put my units down, and I now can see that 8 meters is equal to 24.25 feet. Okay. Now we are going to convert 50 meters. 50 meters. Whoop, where'd my marker go again? 50 meters to kilometers. So I actually have an equivalency here. 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers. So this is going to just require 1 conversion factor because 1 mile does equal 1.6 kilometers. So again, I put the miles in the denominator because I need to cancel out the miles so that it leaves me with my units. That is the goal. So when I do those calculations, where I multiply both the denominators and both of the numerators, it gives me 50 times 1.6, and that is 80. Again, my kilometers are the only units that are left. And this one was rather quickly, don't you think? 50 miles is equal to 80 kilometers. This conversion is requiring us to use 2 different measurements. It says that it wants us to express 45 miles per hour in kilometers per hour. So we'll end up with 2 different units, kilometers per hour at the end. So we're going to go ahead and set it up. The original that we start with is 45 miles per hour. I want to cancel out miles. So that means I need to find conversion factor with miles in the denominator. And over here, I do have 1 mile. It's approximately 1.6 kilometers. So that's the conversion factor I'm going to use. Now I'm going to multiply straight across the numerators, straight across the denominators. And that gives me 45 times 1.6, which actually equals 72. So my answer is going to be 72 kilometers per hour because we did not eliminate hours. So kilometers, where my marker go? Here we go. Kilometers per hour because we did not eliminate hours. We still have kilometers per hour, and that was the goal, kilometers per hour. So 45 miles per hour is equal to 72 kilometers per hour. And of course, that's a speed. It's not a measurement, it's a speed. Okay. Okay, we're finally at the last problem of this video. They are wanting us to express 100 miles per hour in feet per second. So this one is not drawing from these cards that they've given us um, in our section. These are going to expect us to kind of know some of these conversion factors. A lot of these we've learned since we were children. Some of them are harder to remember, so you can always Google it if you can't find it in your textbook, easily anyway. Okay, so we start out with the 100 miles per hour. So I've got 100 miles per hour, but I want to get from miles to feet. So that means that I need to eliminate miles, miles and miles. And I need to remember that 5,280 feet are equal to 1 mile. That gives me my conversion factor so that I can eliminate miles. But I also need to eliminate hours because the hours are going to go to seconds. So I'm going to use the conversion factor 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. And then that allows me to eliminate hour and hour. It starts out in the denominator, so I put it in the numerator, my conversion factor, so that I can cancel it out. Okay, and then now I have minutes. Minutes is not what I want. I want to get to seconds. So that means I'm going to eliminate minutes by using the conversion factor. 1 minute is equivalent to 60 seconds. Okay, so then minutes and minutes will cancel out. Okay, so let's kind of erase all this stuff so we can clearly see what we've come up with. We have come up with a conversion factor to eliminate miles. We have come up with a conversion factor to eliminate hours. And we've come up with the last conversion factor to eliminate minutes. And that leaves me with feet per second. And feet per second is exactly what I'm looking for. So now I can multiply across my numerators. I can multiply across my denominators. And it's going to give me some figures here. It's going to give me a numerator of 528,000, and that's from the 100 times 5,280. And the numerator is going to be 60 times 60, which is going to be 300 or 3,600. And then that is going to reduce when we divide it out to 146.67 feet, oops, um, feet per second, feet per second. So our final answer, 100 miles per hour is equal to 146.67 feet per second. Okay, so thanks for hanging around for the whole video, if you did. And just do us a favor and click the like button and click the subscribe button and send your friends here to find good math information. Okay, have a good day. Bye.